Every time you hear that sound, every time you hear this sound, just know it is time for your Phoenix Sports right here on Boom Radio NJ. My name is Sola Rogers, and of course, I'm not alone. Here comes the entire gang. I'm talking about Fola Ajibola.
Always great to be here with you guys.
And of course, the one and only Mr. Controversial. Cornelius.
Everything has seemed controversial in the last 12 hours, talking about the Super Eagles. But yes, it's always a pleasure being on the program. And of course, a lot to talk about. We want to dive straight into it. Not a good mood for football-loving Nigerians out there. As the Super Eagles got hopes of making it to the World Cup, was diminished as of last night. And a lot of Nigerians having a lot to say about this. I personally having a lot to say about this. I'm not sure I've been able to take a lot off my chest. And of course, the likes of Mr. Rogers, I'm sure you have an opinion you like our listeners to get.
Now, to all our listeners, we say a big shout out to you. Lagos, Nigeria is in the building. If you want to put a face to these voices, go check us out right now. We are streaming also on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, if you are watching on any of those platforms, please like, comment, and share. Let's grow the community together. So we are definitely taking what my friend calls an inquest into the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the World Cup again. It's becoming a thing with the Super Eagles. And a lot of people have said a lot of things, but here we're going to say it just the way we say it. I'm going to start with Fola. Fola, were you disappointed in the fact that the Eagles could not qualify?
I mean, more of not shocked than disappointed. I think we've all been in this situation before. Anytime Nigeria is trying to get into any single competition that we're fighting for, it's either we're doing calculations or we're just doing something else. And watching these players just falter in moments that they shouldn't be faltering. And in this case, I don't know. I think it's 50-50. I think the players had a huge hand in the game yesterday in losing. And the fact that Osimhen went off halftime, Osimhen is basically our Messi. And Osimhen leaving the pitch was a really hard one for us to take. And I don't know who came on. Was it Mr. Tosin? Mr. Tosin came on. It did not do very well. But yeah.
All right. Sadly, this device here has not been recording the audio. So once again, I'd just like to say a quick intro. This is Phoenix Sports on your Boom Radio NG, and of course, you also get to listen to it on Spotify and Afripods, Afripods, and of course, we are streaming on YouTube and on boomradiong.com. And of course, Fola just talked about how Osimhen leaving the field at halftime played a big role in that. But Cornelius, your thoughts on yesterday's game, and once again, the Super Eagles are not going to the World Cup.
Oh yeah, Fola, yes, it's right to say Osimhen leaving the pitch at half at the resumption of the second half. Saw the game go in the way it did. However, there should be an inquest into this team. I mean, there were 11 players on the pitch, 11 Europe-based players,
yeah,
and only one African-based player, talking about the goalkeeper. And I saw a difference between a team that was ready to fight for every ball, fight to have the right to earn the right to play the game or earn the right to get a result, and one that was just struggling. There was one team on the pitch yesterday that was playing football, and that was DR Congo. It was a poor performance, and it has become a normal, like you said, when Nigeria is trying to qualify, especially for the World Cup. then we bring our pens and paper and start looking for all sort of permutations.
How
need-
can
need
we-
draws
how
here,
can
need
we-
wins here. And you see, to us, I say there should be an inquest, not
Mhm.
just into the team,
Yeah.
although the players first they need to look inward,
Yeah.
because if ranked as high as they are in the world, if we had won that game yesterday, we would have qualified by virtue of our ranking
Mhm.
directly into the intercontinental finals.
Mhm.
And it would have even at that, would we have earned it?
Probably not.
All right. Would we have ended if we had qualified? Is saying, but again, there's an angle that we want everybody to take a look at. Congo DR qualified with a blend of home-based and international-based footballers. The Nigerian team, you talked about the stars in that team, they were all based abroad.
Mhm.
Now, what does that tell you about the quality of the Nigerian league as compared to the quality of the Congolese league? Because we cannot fool ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves for once.
I'll be honest with you. And aside quality of the Nigerian league, one thing is for sure, we have the talent here.
We do. I think looking at that squad, first off, that squad should be good enough to beat any other African team.
No, don't get deceived by that. I disagree with that.
No, I
Because
fully
I
believe
feel
we
like
should
that
be.
there should be an overhaul of that squad. I feel there are some players in that squad who do not have the right to be in that squad. Moses Simon, for once, you get me? I don't know how old they say that guy is, but that guy plays football like he's a 50-year-old player. Forgive me, you understand? He came on yesterday. I feel Shell's substitutions were too early.
Mhm.
He didn't give
Yeah.
the players chance to settle in the second half and actually see where he could influence the game. He made the substitutions because I think that was the plan he had going into that game. I feel like as if there are a lot of players who shouldn't be in that team. Simon came in, he didn't complete one dribble. He was dancing on the ball a lot, playing the ball backwards every time, wasting the ball. Unlike the first half when passes were going with pace. I almost felt, okay, this Super Eagles players might really love the pitch out there in Morocco because they kept zipping the passes through. But all of that was disappeared in the second half.
But I think
when the duels started, when the DR Congo players made it clear you would have to fight and the right to control the ball.
so. What do you think would be a factor that made them lose duels so
I
much?
feel one team was hungry for it, and the other team felt were not inspired enough for it. You want to make someone made an excuse for them. The Super Eagles in the last match they played over 2 hours. Considering the fact they went into extra time and considering the injury times that were added both in the first half, second half, and in extra time. But even at that, these are players, world-class players.
These are
they
players
play in the
based in
best
Europe.
leagues
Yeah.
in the world.
Lukman had a stellar season last season. Chukwueze is an explosive winger. Osimhen is one of top 3 strikers in the world. That attack alone should bury DR Congo in the first half without having to bring in Moses Simon or anyone on the bench. That's how I feel.
You see, that's what you feel. I mean, quickly would have learned otherwise yesterday that the DR Congo team is a team to reckon with. I saw them play football, and I was impressed watching them play football, considering the fact that that was an African team. If they do make it to the World Cup, I'll be rooting for them. I'll support them because I see the brand of football they play. And, Shola tried to, refer to their league, which we know how well organized that league is. It's obviously that plays a factor to how good that team looks. They're a team to watch out for, and I'll be rooting for them. And let there be a reality check that there are levels to this game. And from what I saw yesterday, the DR Congo team is up there, regardless of the FIFA ranking, and the Super Eagles team is not there. Near
All right,
that
quickly,
team at the moment.
we are still talking about this is Phoenix Sports on your Boom Radio NG, and we are still talking about the Super Eagles, and we're going to talk about other things, but for now, let's talk about the Super Eagles. We're taking a look at yesterday's game. We've talked about first half. We're going to look at the second half. We're looking at other things, but sector by sector, segment by segment, because brick by brick a house is built. Let's take a look at the coaching. Let's take a look at the officiating. Now, I'll go first. For me, officiating was the best I've seen in the whole of the time I've been watching African football.
Oh, they spread your bubbles twice.
No, beyond that, beyond that, because I get what you're saying, and of course it's banter and all, but the truth is, I think Congo DR should have gotten like 2 red cards yesterday, based on the fact that they would have accumulated some yellow cards. The ref allowed people to play. Like you get kicked, and our own players too should have gotten a couple of cards too. So I saw officiating that let the game flow.
African style, African football.
It wasn't even about maybe there could have been a penalty or there was a ball that was knocked into the post twice that was wrong. Obviously, in some other instances they would have counted those things as goals. You get. So for me, officiating was very good, and coaching for me was also good. Not very good, but good. Now back to you, your own opinion.
Well, the referee was fantastic yesterday. I saw African football in its finest yesterday. Even though we're not the one dishing it out, we're the one on the receiving end of it. But you could see African football where every ball was contested. That is the beauty of African football, and that's why African footballers make their way around the world. African footballers are known for their strength, their pace. Their gritty, nitty style of playing football, and you could see all of that in the DR Congo yesterday. The officiating was top notch. It was easy to have given any of those 2 goals poorly, and of course that will be the excuse the whole the nation of Nigeria have at this point, that a goal that wasn't supposed to be given was given against us. But the officiating was superb. Now the coach, I feel like here, of course, losing his first game yesterday, I feel like that just, in a way, it just patronizes us, because coaches make big buck. They make big buck for making the impossible happen on the pitch. They make the right decisions at the right time. The golden substitutions and things like that. He was all over the place yesterday. Early substitutions in the second half, not letting the team gain balance. His substitution started in the 57th minute. He immediately removed his flair players in Chukwueze and Lukman, who obviously were doing fantastic, and I just felt he should have let the game flow a little bit more before changing it up.
All right, Fola?
Definitely. I think the case of substituting your key players early can diminish the whole 60 minutes or the whole 45 minutes that they played in the first half. Because Lukman and Chukwueze, if you are bringing in someone as good as Lukman,
they brought in Simon.
Simon that's on the bench. Like, you have to, and plus, it wasn't like we were winning the game. We weren't winning the game. It was still 1-1 at that point. So you have to give your flair players the chance to bring the game back. I know Osimhen wasn't more reason why he should have kept them on the pitch for longer, because Osimhen, your main player, was off the pitch. Now you have to you have to rely on Lukman and Chukwueze. And our bench is not as good as the first team.
All right, okay. This is still Phoenix Sports, and of course we are dissecting what went down in the last couple of games that the Super Eagles have played. Would you guys say that we got carried away with that 4-1 victory against Gabon?
Oh, definitely. I think it gave us a sense of full confidence.
What about you?
Yeah, it gave us a false belief.
Yeah.
That we
were in control. Yeah.
Now I saw the game against Gabon. The game wasn't spectacular. We won the game by a lot of goals, and the whole country was buzzing about it. The Super Eagles have this way of doing this. They make you feel, okay, yes, we're on track to actually do something that makes you guys proud.
Then the very next game,
how Nigerians love their football. Nigerians start anticipating. I could imagine how many Nigerians almost had an heart attack last night. I was into penalties.
My dad including.
All right. Okay. So we're taking a look at that. Now we're gonna take a look at the penalties itself, and I'll go first again. For me, when you are in a knockout competition, even me regularly when there's no knockout, the time I used to coach my grassroots team, we used to practice penalties on a daily. So we already knew who our top 5 penalty players were.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the first 2 penalties were skied. Calvin Bassey, that had an amazing game, missed his penalty. Then the second penalty, and Nwabali actually saved a couple. So for me, we didn't look like a team that had been practicing penalties. That's my opinion, because even Congo were missing penalties too. So, your thoughts on how the penalties played out, Cornelius and Fola?
Penalties is anybody's game. In football, when ball goes down to penalty shootout, it comes down to nerves. Who can hold their nerves the most and actually stick the ball in the back of the net. Last night, a spectacular game as Bassi had, who for me had to be, if you had to give anybody a rating above 5, he probably, would have given a 6.8 or 7. In my opinion, he was out there for Nigeria along with Frederick. It was all about holding your nerves. He skied the ball.
Yeah.
I feel if he was a little more calmer, you could see what's going to try to put the ball down the middle. And it was just poor penalties throughout. And a lot of antics been going on. I feel like one of the saves Wambali made, I feel like as if the referees missed it. I feel like as if he was off his line, and that should have been retaken. I've not read this anyway, but I watched the game and looked for small details like that. Although, there was no VAR check on it. Maybe there was in the background, but it wasn't a spectacular set of penalty shootouts, and it was anybody's game at the end.
All right, it wasn't spectacular. It was anybody's game. Fola?
Yeah, I don't think necessarily it will be a case of not practicing your penalties. I think in a game as high stakes as that, the pressure is going to get to you. And once you see, when you're like in the line of people taking penalties and you see that one of your colleagues skied it, I think it's going to have a ripple effect on others too, because they know that it's very important.
It definitely puts pressure on you. But and then I look at the list of players who actually took the kicks for Nigeria. When you made so many substitutes, and I don't get it. The likes of Akwa Adams should have stepped up and taken the first penalty. He's a striker. He didn't take. I think he took the second one or the third one. He put the first one. He scored the first of the penalties for us. Semi Ajayi. I feel like as if he should have been down the pecking order when it comes to penalty.
Yeah, but he was number 6.
It was
number 6.
Was the first of the sudden death. But how many defenders took penalties? What happened to the strikers? The AGK who came in
again. Doesn't that tie into what I was trying to say, that if you had practiced your penalties, you won't be talking about this.
You'd have known your best penalty takers. There's a good chance his best penalty takers, he had taken them all off. You get me? And he had to, improvise and try to, But you see, again, it makes you look at the DR Congo team. I can't stop talking about how fantastic this team was last night. Before the penalties, they took off the goalkeeper who was basically a spectator throughout the game, hardly had much to do, and brought in one they felt he was more assured in taking care of penalties. Yeah. And he did what he had to do. He saved enough enough penalties to win them the game.
All right, we're still talking sports right here on Phoenix Sports. We are going to take a quick look at what has happened in Nigeria later in the day again, but now let us talk about solutions. You cannot have the immediate past best player in Africa and the one before it also is from Nigeria. And now there's a new short list of for the FIFA for the CAF best player of the year,
and the Nigerian is still
and
there.
The same Nigerian is there on that list again. Who are the other names on that list?
You have Mo Salah and Hakimi.
Yeah.
The Moroccan.
Who's winning? Who's winning in your opinion? Osimhen, Mo Salah, Hakimi. Just give me a name.
Hakimi. He's had a fantastic.
Hakimi is winning. In your opinion?
Osimhen.
Osimhen. In your opinion? In my opinion, Salah. So
three different opinions.
It's balanced.
Okay, why do you think Osimhen deserves to win the
AFCON
I don't think we even have time for that. Yeah, it's your choice. Let's move on from that. Now, what is the solution? In 1 minute, how will the Super Eagles make it to the next World Cup?
I feel like as if qualification for the World Cup right now is only going to get more difficult, and I feel like as if happenings in the last couple of years have shown that it is a distance that the
you have 30 seconds now
are incapable of reaching. I don't know. I feel like an overhaul of the team, for instance, there are a lot of young players out there in Europe doing well. There are a lot of young players in our league here doing well. we need to look for a way to actually integrate those young players, both home-based and abroad, into our Super Eagles team. I feel like there should be an overhaul there. A lot of players who are too old to be in that squad.
How would the Eagles make the next World Cup?
Yeah, I think I would go by the way Mr. Cornelius has put it. And I think it's a 50-50 thing, coaching and the players. I think the players have a huge hand in us losing a lot of games where we shouldn't. I think their mentality isn't as strong as it should be. So it needs to overhaul. And maybe we should look at the coaching as well. But this is the first game that I can't remember his name. Shell has lost. But so it's not really down to him. It's more on the players.
All right, for me, I feel that we need to come back home and really fix our leagues. We don't need a 20-team league when only 2 or 3 teams own their stadiums. We don't need a 20-team league where we still know that it's called a professional league, but a lot of things are amateur. And when you say this, they say you are demarketing. And I don't care. And this is why we're suffering. If we had a good league, at least 4 or 5 of the guys who played yesterday would have been there based on merit, not just because they're Nigerians.
Yeah.
But you see, if you have competition in every position, regardless of where you play, you will bring your best. Look at.
But the thing is that I feel like we do have some players in the present league, even it's not.
But where are they not being invited? So I'm saying, let us come back home, fix the league, fix the junior Eagles, so that we stop, just recycling old players. Let's get young players and groom them for the next 4 years.
Yeah. Can I say one thing? And this is I've always tried to say this. If the head is not guiding the entire system, well, you cut off the head. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of corruption going on in the NFF and the football organization body as a whole. And I can't, it's visible, and it's stopping the progress of football in our country from grassroots football. There's a lot going on, and I feel like as if the corruption or whatever is going on at NFF should be resolved. Yeah. And I don't know, all of those up there in the position to do this, they should look into it, because clearly, something, the whole structure of the Nigerian football, men's football, is comatose.
I had a lot of grammar there, comatose, and all of that.
Where did I get that from?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's go.
We don't want to know where you got it from.
Okay.
You can't point at me. Am I involved there?
I don't think I've used that word before.
Quickly, let us look at the teams that qualified this weekend.
Okay, for the World Cup. Okay, so we have Germany, Switzerland, Denmark, France, Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, Austria, Norway, Belgium, England, and Croatia.
All right, Cornelius, how is it going to play out at the international playoffs?
Well, Fola, you called a number of teams, and some of them are still going to have to go through the playoff route, and some of them through the Nations League routes to actually make it to the World Cup. Qualified group winners right now are the names that have actually qualified directly for the World Cup. And talking about the intercontinental playoffs, if Nigeria were to have won that game yesterday, you to see them, by virtue of their world ranking, actually make it direct to the finals, and also giving them a chance to qualify for the World Cup. Not so with DR Congo, who are ranked slightly backwards. Talking about their FIFA world ranking, they will have to play, I think, a game more or 2 more to actually make it to the World Cup. All teams qualified for the World Cup, the likes of Bolivia, have qualified for the intercontinental playoffs. When we don't have the qualifiers from the CONCACAF yet, we feel that will be decided in the next couple of days, and you'll have a full list of players who for that intercontinental World Cup qualifiers.
Okay, so we take a look at that. We've done that. Now, let's really get back to the Eagles as we round up, because it's so painful. It's so painful, let's not lie. How do you see it pan out for a player like Osimhen, for instance?
Yeah.
How old is Osimhen now? 26?
26.
The next World Cup, Osimhen will be 30?
30.
30.
I mean, it could go down the
going on 31?
Lewandowski route and just still be amazing at that
At
age.
31.
Yeah, and I don't think it's very likely he's going to go down the Lewandowski route. He's still going to be banging at 31,
So
32.
Cornelius, do you think that Ademola Lookman is actually having issues based on what happened before, the transfer window shut? All of that distraction, do you think has put him off his game?
Oh yeah. You see, and one thing I'll say about Ademola Lookman is, regardless of his poor form, but what you can never take from him, anytime you put him on the pitch, he'll give you 100%. He will fight for every ball. He'll go into every tackle. He will run the channels consistently. You see, I could see that yesterday. You can't. You could have said that for the likes of Simon Moses, or what's his name? Dancing on the ball, not one forward pass, not one dual one, not one successful dribble. I mean, it was all over the pitch. You could call it number of players, but his was. I mean, if they brought you in the second half to affect to impact a game, and you cannot push one pass forward.
All right, Cornelius,
the one pass pushed forward was offside.
Staying with you, Zaidu Sanusi at left back. What do you think? He was substituted later in the game, but what do you think? Your honest opinion?
Zaidu Sanusi is a good player. He's a left back. He plays for Porto. If he's not that good, he won't be playing for that team. Basically, not every player fits into
the squad of playing.
I feel he's a good player. He puts good balls in the box. But I feel as an athlete, he's not fast.
So you think he didn't have a good game yesterday?
No.
All right.
I don't think he had a good game yesterday. If I were to rate players who had good games yesterday,
okay, let's hear it.
I had Bassi. Bassi was fantastic for me. Was my Nigeria? He played. He was consistent. Frederick has been a good.
Benjamin Frederick.
He's been the breath of fresh air in that squad, be it at centre back and at left back. His team let him down yesterday because he was punished.
Did you
all
notice
through the game?
Did you notice that the strategy that they adopted was to play at him?
Oh yes.
All Congo did was just go down that flank.
And when they couldn't get through in the extra time, then they changed. Then they changed it. Then the coach, I think Shell, noticed that they changed their focus of attack. Then Shell made the substitution at left back. But aside that, no other Super Eagles player completed one successful dribble. Okay, not one.
So, Wilfred Ndidi, captain of the day, your thoughts?
He will always give, of course. You say he was liable for the goal. He had a poor touch leading to the goal, the equalizing goal. Yeah. But aside that, he will give you every minute. Ndidi is not a spectacular ball user.
Yeah. He does the basic things well.
Dirty job, and things like that. And those kind of players, they are not flair players. When the team doesn't do well, you get me, it's like he's inexistent. And when the team does well, you actually see, he brings balance to the team. Yeah. But that team seemed very imbalanced yesterday. The starting lineup with him and Onyenka, they were sitting. Seemed there wasn't balance there. Iwobi was missing basically almost the entire game. Few brilliance in the early part of the game, moving towards the end of the game. He was, and thus I felt he had to be substituted at some point, but too early for me. Too early.
All right, this is it. I think we have to go now. We have actually taken a look at the Super Eagles. We wish we had more time, but we don't. We have been warned to step out, or else we will be chased out of the studio. So we got to go. However, we would like to say a big thank you to the people who've joined us. Remember that we'll be back again next week, Monday, at 12:30 to bring you Phoenix Sports. But in between time, there'll be more at the Boom Bar. We'll continue with the Inquisition. We'll talk about solutions also. It's not just for us to blame. We also prefer solutions. So, Cornelius, you wanted to say your parting shots?
Oh, yeah. An question to him definitely till we come your way again. It's Phoenix Sports, and I'm Cornelius as usual.
All right, Fola, your parting shots?
We love football here. Football is the number one sport for me. Great to be here on Phoenix Sports for the first time, and look forward to it.
All right, that's what it is. Look forward to it. We got you covered. We are out in 3, 2, 1.